Go for deploy.
Underspeed, drifting to the right, roll. Contact light. Eagle has landed.
Hey guys, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. Welcome back to another launch day, this time for Rocket Lab. Today is, what day are we on? November 19th, 2020. It's 8:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast of the United States, but we're not launching in the United States today. Today we're launching from New Zealand for Rocket Lab. Although we're launching in New Zealand, Rocket Lab is a US-based company. Not sure why I'm getting a couple of drop streams here. Hopefully that gets itself sorted out. But yeah, so today we're going to see Rocket Lab's Electron rocket hopefully head off into a sun-synchronous orbit, a southern track, which I'll show you in just a minute and we'll take a look at. And they're also going to be launching 30 satellites today, so quite a few. And then on top of that, they're also going to be recovering their first stage, or at least attempting to recover their first stage for the first time. First time they've ever done that, so hopefully that is successful today. Now, in addition to that, what I'm going to ask you to do once we get a little bit closer to launch time, Rocket Lab is going to obviously do their own stream. We're going to show that. We'll put that up here. We'll talk about it. We'll do all the kind of stuff. But I'm going to ask you to do something today, which is to open two windows. And hopefully you'll stick around and watch what we have to say and watch what we're talking about here. But hopefully you can also watch Rocket Lab's official stream, because for every viewer that Rocket Lab has on the official stream, they're going to get $1 donated to charity. So it's kind of a nice thing. So if you've got once Rocket Lab goes live, I'll remind you again. But for every one viewer that Rocket Lab gets tonight on their official stream, they're not going to count us here. So you're going to have to dual window it. You know, you go side by side, two screens, split screen, two monitors, whatever you got where you are. We'll get both of them up there so we can get Rocket Lab's stream up. Hopefully you stick around and think this one's useful as well. If not, I understand, but we get some charity, some money for charity for Rocket Lab tonight. So, hello, I see everybody chatting it up here in the comments. I don't know why I'm dropping so many streams. I'm getting a whole bunch of drop frames here. So hopefully that sorts itself out. I'll have to take a look at that here in just a second and see why we're getting dropped frames. I should be able to sort that out. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what we're gonna be doing here today. All right, so we're about 31 minutes away from launch here. Rocket Lab is going to go live at T-minus 25 minutes. So we've got about 10 minutes to kind of poke around and take a look at what's happening. So let's get into it. And we'll tell you about today's mission. Okay, so today this is a mission called Return to Sender, primarily because Rocket Lab is for the first time going to attempt to recover their first stage booster. Now, the ultimate plan is to recover it under parachute, and a helicopter will come grab it before it lands in the water. But that's not what's happening today. Today, you can see the little Rocket Lab first stage booster under parachute. It is going to parachute back and then soft land in the water. Now, we probably won't get video all the way down. They said that we should get video until it's about 30 kilometers in altitude on the way down, and then at that point it's going to go over the horizon, and we're probably going to lose video footage, unfortunately. So we probably won't see video footage of the whole thing, but we should see at least some video footage. And then I'm hoping that they're capturing the onboard video footage, and if they recover it successfully, then maybe they'll share it afterwards. That's the idea, at least. We'll see how that turns out. So yeah, it's called Return to Sender. This is they're also sending up this mass simulator here. This is Noam Chomsky that they're sending up as well. I love that name. I think it's I'm not super up to date on this, but I think it's a nod to Half-Life. Is that right? Somebody might know the answer to that better than I do. But launches at 2046 UTC. Wow, we're dropping frames again. Well, that's gonna be a problem if we keep dropping frames like that. I keep getting warnings here on my end. I don't know why we're dropping so many frames. Yes, Half-Life. Everybody's telling me it's Half-Life. How's the quality on your end? Are you noticing the frame drops? I keep saying drop streams. Dropped frames? Should we stop and fix it or press through? Is it all right to press through? We'll see. Not dropping on your end. Well, maybe it's enough. Maybe there's enough of a buffer. Nobody's noticing. Okay, well, if you're not noticing, then I'm just gonna press ahead. Okay. All right. So actually, let's see. I want to show you We'll show you a couple things here. So the first thing we'll take a look at, so we've been talking about the recovery itself here, so we can take a look at what recovery is going to happen. So the Māhia Peninsula here, where Rocket Lab launches from, is right up here in New Zealand, right here at the very tip of this point here. The Māhia Peninsula. This is New Zealand, remember, off the southeastern coast of Australia here. So we're launching from New Zealand. The Māhia Peninsula, right here is where Rocket Lab launches from. They're going to launch in a southern trajectory here, down this direction, and their recovery ship that's actually going to try to pick up the booster is this little gray dot that's out here. Unspecified, mysterious ship that's out there in the water. So that's where the ship is that's going to recover it, but like I said, probably not going to get video all the way to splashdown, but hopefully we'll get at least some video from the booster, and then hopefully they improve on that in the future as far as the video is concerned, but it's not their main concern. Like, step one, let's recover the booster, right? So launching in that southern trajectory. And so speaking of trajectory, let's take a look at flightclub.io. They're going to show us what that trajectory is exactly. So here we are again, New Zealand, again off the southeast coast of Australia, from the Māhia Peninsula. Right there is where Rocket Lab launches from, coming from their pad number 1, launch complex number 1. They do have a second launch complex that's going to Virginia. Not ready yet to launch there, but very, very close. So they're launching to the south here, and you can see, let's see, can we orbit this? You guys know how awful I am at navigating this map. Yep, I wanted to, yep, oh, look at me. Look at me. All right, better stop while I'm ahead. All right, so launching to the south, you can see right here is where powered flight stops, this little gray section here. This is separation of the first and second stage, and then we don't have a trajectory for the first stage. This is all very, very, very new. So flightclub.io, which is an awesome service, you should go check it out. They're still getting up to speed on what's going to happen here for trajectory. So, but it is going to come down, and the actual landing itself for that first stage booster, remember, it's going to keep going. Oh, we do have a first stage trajectory. Oh, this wasn't there earlier today, or at least I didn't see it. Maybe I just looked right past it. So there you go. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep on heading down this direction in a ballistic trajectory. It's going to have a drogue chute that comes out. I'm not sure exactly what the drogue chute's going to look like. They had talked about using a balut at one point. Raise your hand if you know what a balut is. Oh, wait. A balut is like half parachute, half balloon. So it's usually used for really high-speed drogue parachute operations. But then it's going to come under main parachute and then splash down in the water nice and gently. Eventually, they will pick it up with a helicopter right at this stage here. So a helicopter will come in, swoop it, pick it up, take her away. So that's the first stage. Second stage will continue on. Cutoff is right here. You can see second stage re-entry as well. And then, let's see, can we navigate this? I should have stopped while I was ahead. I told you. There we go. Oh, no. Maybe. Possibly. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So then it's going to come around to the other side. Here's kicks. This is where the kick stage is going to ignite here. So they have a third stage. That's the kick stage that will ignite to get it into the final orbits where they will deploy roughly 30 satellites about an hour after launch. A lot of times they don't show us the actual satellite deployment, so don't be surprised if we don't see satellite deployment today. Sometimes they just show us right up until the kick stage separates, and then they call it a day. So we'll have to see exactly what they're going to show us today. I just realized that I don't have the Rocket Lab live stream up, so I don't know if they're started yet. Let me get that pulled up so we don't miss it. While that's pulling up, let's continue on to weather. weather at the 20 past the hour with Tori. Where is my weather? There it is. So here's our weather, what it's looking like today. What I was mostly concerned about a little bit earlier was ground level winds. You can see we got some winds picking up 25 miles per hour off the coast, but it looks like they're far enough to the east that it's not going to be a big deal. They're only 14 mile per hour ground level winds right now, so I think we're okay ground level winds wise. Upper level winds, usually not as big of an issue down in New Zealand here, particularly because they got this mountain range right here that can kind of cut down on the wind. So upper level winds here, only sitting at about 45 miles per hour. Although don't forget Rocket Lab, much smaller rocket. So usually a smaller rocket like that has a little tighter wind constraints, but it's never really been too big of an issue, at least not that we've seen to date. So this is the wind pattern right here that is down over New Zealand right now. This is upper level winds. These are ground level winds. You can see big difference there between upper level winds and ground level winds, but it's looking okay. Satellite view, a couple of clouds in the area, but it's looking pretty clear actually right over the launch site, and it'll get up and over these clouds no problem. The question will be, they do have some cloud coverage down here at the recovery area. How much is recovery weather gonna play a role in today's launch? So that's gonna be a question for once they go live, and we'll take a look and we'll see. So again, remember, it's going to the south. Can I navigate this? There it is. There's our southern trajectory, and this is sun-synchronous orbit. Sun-synchronous orbit, essentially a polar orbit, and it means that it's going to pass over the same point on Earth at the same time every day. So if you pick a point, that particular point, it will pass overhead at the exact same time every day, and what that's really beneficial for is imagery. Especially if you're trying to do observational imagery of the Earth. If you have the exact same lighting conditions every single time you pass over, you can see how a particular area changes from satellite pass to satellite pass, and over time just makes it really easy to compare that imagery because you're going to get exactly the same lighting for a good stretch of time there. So sun-synchronous orbit is going to be a polar orbit. It's about 97 degrees, so it's not a perfect polar orbit, but 97 degrees is close enough in my book. That's what I say. All right, where's my Rocket Lab stream? They're not live yet, but let's make sure I've got it ready, which I do now. And again, just as a reminder, Rocket Lab is raising money for charity today. So I will ask you, hopefully you'll stick around and have this stream up, but I will ask you to open a second window, because for every one viewer that Rocket Lab gets on the official live stream from Rocket Lab, whether it's on YouTube or they also have one on Twitch, you can even go three windows. Watch this one, watch YouTube, watch Twitch. Get all three of them going, because for every one viewer they get on their official live stream, they will raise $1 for charity. They're going to be donating one. Actually, it's I forget what the guy's name is. That's raising money for charity, but yeah, every one viewer is $1 for charity tonight. So you can go to rocketlabusa.com/livestream for the official live stream, the YouTube live stream. So that's what we're looking at here today. So let's see, somebody just said 25 minutes to the, oh, there you go. T0 time has been updated by a few minutes. Okay, hold on. We got an update. Rocket Lab says T0 time is being updated by several minutes to allow an aircraft to clear the range. Come on! Who didn't read the NOTAMs? So we got an aircraft in the area. We got a wayward plane spoiling the launch here at the moment. So looks like we're gonna have a touch bit of a delay due to that plane. Let's see if we can look it up and figure out who the plane is here. Because we can look up the live view here. So give me 1 second to pull it up. But we should have a new T0 time here in just a minute. Looks like we're gonna have a slight delay. Hopefully it's not too bad, but just waiting for a new time from Rocket Lab here. All right, let's zoom this out. put this over here so you guys can see it. We're gonna go find this wayward plane and see who's in the way. I don't see. Well, we don't see any planes, at least not on our ADS-B map here. Maybe one of these guys over here got a touch bit too close. Right in this area. Not sure. The NOTAM really is right here, so it would really just be this particular area and then probably the actual recovery area itself. So, no planes on my radar, but of course this isn't complete. It's not comprehensive. It could be a plane that doesn't have ADS-B, which usually, you know, some smaller planes, especially older ones, don't have ADS-B on them yet. So this is not a comprehensive map that has everything in the area. So, and likely there's a good chance that if it's if a plane that's violating the NOTAM restriction right now, that's probably it was probably a small plane. somebody didn't read the NOTAMs. All right, let's see. Zara over on Facebook says, you're on my TV, Rocket Lab's on my phone. Live stream is 5 seconds ahead of you on my phone. Yeah, it does work out a little bit like that, but glad you got both streams up here today. Let's raise some money for charity, for sure. Why is the official stream super late? Well, the official stream, they generally set the time on the official stream to be launch time. So don't go by the countdown time that they have there. Usually they set the stream time to be launch time, and then they'll go live before the countdown hits 0. They'll usually go live when the countdown's at like 20 minutes. But it looks like we got a slight delay, so I'm just waiting on an updated time. Actually, you know what we can do? While we wait, I even have a... We'll go like this. I got a hold indicator. It's not scrubbed. It's just a hold. So we're still okay, at least at the moment. But now I got to watch my phone and wait for an update. So if any of you guys see it, you let me know in the chat, and I'll read some of your questions. And if somebody sees an updated time before I do, somebody tell me. All right. Well, that gives us a minute because we didn't really go too much through the actual flight itself. So if you're not familiar with Rocket Lab is a much smaller rocket. It's meant for microsats, CubeSats, much smaller rocket. It does have these 9 Rutherford sea level engines on the bottom, and the big thing with Rocket Lab's engines is that they use electric fuel pumps, battery powered fuel pumps, instead of a turbo pump, which generally uses the fuel and the oxidizer to create a mini rocket explosion going on that drives the turbo pump to put the fuel in the engine. So remember, a rocket engine you have fuel, obviously. Generally, rocket fuels have to be stored under pressure, but you can't store them under too much pressure because the vehicle itself would have to be so thick and so rigid that it just becomes crazy heavy. So they store them at pressure, but then they need more pressure. So they use a turbo pump to amp up that pressure and pressure feed those fuels into the combustion chamber to ignite, and that's how you get your rocket engine. Now, usually, in the early days of rockets, they actually had 2 different types of fuels. They had one fuel that would be the combustion fuel and one fuel that would power the turbo pump. But a lot of rockets these days, like the Falcon 9 from SpaceX, use the same fuel for the turbo pump as they do for the actual combustion engine. This actually uses a battery-powered electric pump for its fuel pump here. So it's very different. First orbital class rocket to use a battery fuel pump. So you'll also see on the second stage, they will have something called battery hot swap, and that's when there are 3 batteries on board, and when the first 2 are expended and exhausted to completion, they will eject those batteries and get rid of them to shed weight. Because remember, it's a small rocket, so every pound and every kilogram counts. So it's they will eject those batteries to get them to reduce some of the weight. You got your second stage here, a smaller payload fairing, and then you also have a kick stage for Rocket Lab, which is a smaller third stage up on top of the rocket that does that last little into orbit there. Overgi, over on our Twitch channel, can they reuse the battery-powered pumps, or is it gone? Well, the pump, well, everything to date, they have not reused anything. So Rocket Lab has never reused anything. This is the first time that they're going to even attempt some sort of reusability. They're not actually going to reuse this one today. This one's just going to soft land in the water, and then they're going to examine it and see what happened and see if it works. Eventually, they're going to get to the point where they're going to reuse them one time. That's their goal, is just to reuse them one time, not 10 times or 100 times like SpaceX is talking about. They're talking about launch it once, reuse it once, then retire it. Call it a day. Remember, it's a small vehicle, so it's the margin you have to save cost on reusability is much smaller, because by the time you start adding it, now you got to add a helicopter and a support ship and crew out there and this whole operation to do the recovery. Sometimes that can be more expensive than just throwing away the first stage booster. So there's a very small margin there. So they're only going to reuse it one time, and then they're going to retire it. So that's the Electron rocket there. It has this awesome black color. Interesting to note, usually it has this little bit of a white ring here. It's actually red on today's flight, which is kind of cool looking. And then you'll also see as it starts fueling up, it'll get this white ring from about the top of the Electron to up here. Remember, the rocket is black, but we're going to see a huge white ring around the rocket, and that is ice. It's just complete ice that's going to cover the rocket, and it'll look like it's black and white striped, but it's just white ice. It's going to get covered in ice because of that super, super cold, densified liquid oxygen. So this giant black rocket will have black and white stripes from the ice that builds up on it. Anybody see an updated time yet? I've not seen an updated time. Nope, I don't see an updated time yet. New time. Oh, Anita says the new time is 9:20. Oh, there you go. Yep, just saw it from Rocket Lab. New time, 21:20. So it looks like we've got a 30-minute delay here. Let me update this. And we will continue the count. All right, so we're about 45 minutes away from launch, so we got a little bit of a delay thanks to a wayward aircraft that was in the way that they had to clear, but that's better. That's better. So now our liftoff is targeting 21:20 Eastern time. What does that work out to be? What's all our time conversions on that? 02:20 UTC. 15:20 New Zealand time, 18:20 Pacific time, 21:20 Eastern time. That's 9:20 p.m. So once they go live, again, remember we're gonna have to do the double window. You'll have to open their stream, keep mine open if you so please, desire, whatever. We'll watch it all, watch them all. All right, let's go. Let me get to... Oh, we still didn't finish. Let me finish this, and then I'll get to your question. So we can get an idea on the actual recovery process here. You can see this is pretty much what we'd already talked about already. You get liftoff, first stage, cutoff, separation. It's going to flip around and go engine bell first through the atmosphere. That's my understanding. So you get this flip around maneuver and go engine bell first back into the atmosphere. You get your drogue parachute deploy, then your main parachutes deploy. At that point, it would be picked up by a helicopter in the future, but for today, it's just going to soft land in the water and then get picked up by this recovery vessel. The second stage will continue on, jettison the fairings, jettison the batteries during battery hot swap. Second stage will cut off and it'll be in orbit. But then you get the kick stage separation. Kick stage is going to ignite later in flight to get it in that last little into orbit. And then the satellites will deploy about an hour after launch is the plan. And we don't know if Rocket Lab's going to show it to us. Here's an idea, a couple pictures here from the actual recovery itself, what they're planning on. So they've done some testing at this point, but you can see parachute coming down here. The thing that they've talked about the most is trying to get through what they call the wall, which is essentially the point where they have so much heat and so much pressure on the vehicle that it becomes very, very difficult to do without slowing it down with propulsion like SpaceX does. So they think that they can get through the wall successfully. They've tested it a couple times now, like without parachutes, just trying to go through and see if they can still get telemetry from it. But they're trying to go through what they call the wall, which is that area of maximum pressure and heating as they're coming back through the atmosphere. And this is kind of an idea on what those forces are going to look like on that first stage booster. Again, it does have a camera on board, but we're only going to get that until it's about 30 kilometers above the ocean, and then it's probably going to cut out due to going over the horizon from the curvature of the Earth, and you're not going to get telemetry anymore from it. They don't have a downrange station to pick up that video footage. Again, this is the first time they've done it. Maybe they will someday, but right now, they don't. So a couple of things heading out into orbit. This is a mass simulator, which they're calling Noam Chomsky, which is a tip of the hat to Half-Life, I believe. Gaming icon. I don't know too much about Half-Life. I'm out of the loop on Half-Life, but there's Noam Chomsky. Mass simulator to test a 3D printing technique. You've got a couple of other satellites here that are going into orbit, some observation satellites. One of them that I thought was kind of cool was this idea of the drag racer. Let's see, can you see this all right? It's kind of tough to see, but this drag racer satellite, it's a single satellite that's going to get deployed, and then after deployment, it's going to split in two, and one of them is going to deploy what they called, what did they call it? Hold on, I have it right here. They're deploying Terminator tape, is what they call it, which is basically like a tether system that they think will slow the satellite down and deorbit it sooner than the other payloads. So they're going to have two. One's basically a control. The other one's got that Terminator tape, and they expect the one with the Terminator tape to deorbit sooner than the other one. It's going to deorbit. Right. So it's going to deorbit sooner than the control one. At least that's the idea. All right, did we get to everything? We said altitude's 500 kilometers is going to be its orbital altitude, sun-synchronous orbit, 30 satellites, 97.3 degree inclination, which is practically almost a direct polar orbit. It's not quite direct. 90 degrees would be direct, but it's very, very close to it. So that's what we're launching today. All right, let me get... I'm getting a lot of dropped frames. Don't know why that is. We're gonna have to look into that. But let me grab a couple of questions first, and then maybe we'll figure out the drop frames issue. But here you go. Alex is telling me about Half-Life Episode 2 as an achievement, Garden Gnome, that is triggered by carrying a Garden Gnome statue from the start of the game and launching it into orbit. All right, thanks for getting me up to date on that. I wasn't. That's our Noam Chomsky here. Glenn Haggis says Flight Radar 24 shows no flights within the exclusion zone. Yeah, I didn't see any either when we had it up here, but obviously, like we said, it could be a small plane that is outside, that doesn't have ADS-B on it, so it might not show up on the Flight Radar 24 map. Not all flights are required to have it yet, I don't think. I think that's coming up soon, right? Somebody that's maybe a pilot or a little more into aviation than I am might know the date of when all planes are required to have ADS-B. That's coming soon, right? When are they launching? So we're slightly delayed. They just had to delay because there was a plane in the exclusion zone, but we're about 39 minutes away from launch now. Let's see. Weird Brain. People should watch the official stream. Yeah, absolutely. We've mentioned that a couple times there, Weird Brain, so thanks for dropping it and reminding us again. Once Rocket Lab does go live, I'm going to ask everybody to kind of dual window it and make sure you get a view on the official live stream, because for every one viewer they have tonight, they will raise $1 for charity. So hopefully keep this one open and hang out with us in the meantime. But even if you don't hang out with us, at least watch the Rocket Lab stream so that you can get one viewer and raise $1 for charity. And if you even want to, if you want to go 2 for 1, you could watch the YouTube one and the Twitch one because they have it on both. So you can get you go triple screen, YouTube, Twitch, and stay here with me. On flight away, I'm assuming you mean flight aware, Jeb. On flight aware, you can see the plane. Flight radar has no coverage there, but flight aware does. All planes are required to have ADS-B out by 2020. Oh, are they? Okay, maybe they're all required now. I knew it was coming up soon. Is like end of 2020, or like they're all supposed to have it like now? Is that what you're saying? I knew it was coming up soon, but let's see. All right, let's go. Let me get Flight Aware open, because Jeb says that Flight Aware has coverage in that area, and was able to see a plane in the exclusion zone. Maybe it's not. Oh, maybe it's this guy here. That's the only culprit that I see at the moment. Closest one that I see. Upgrade your account. I have an upgraded account. Come on now. Hold on. Let me log in. Let me get off here so I can log into my Flight Radar Pro account. Or Flight Aware Pro account. Because then it'll presumably let me go full screen without that warning there. There we go. That's better. Much better. Okay. 182Q says ADS-B required in the U.S. around and near controlled airspaces beginning of 2020. All right, thank you for that clarification. I know it was 2020 something, but I guess it's just 2020. All right, I gotta take a second. I gotta figure out what's going on with these dropped frames, because I'm dropping a lot of frames here. And I don't know why, but we're gonna sort this out. It's gotta be on. Since we got a second, let's get this sorted out here. Let me give you a nice screen that you can look at. We'll look at the, what happened to our, oh, there it is. We'll keep this up so that you can see this. Waiting for that plane to go by. I'm assuming it's that one lonesome plane there. Are they launching from Wallops Island? No. This is launching from New Zealand, the Māhia Peninsula, which is right up here. This little point up here, that's the Māhia Peninsula that they are launching from. All right, I'm sending a message for backup so I can try to get rid of these dropped frames, because it's going to really annoy me, and it's... I don't think it's too bad on your end, but it's really making me nervous, because at times, like that right there is dropping to, like, 0... It's dropping to, like, 0, which is a problem. What happened to the GNOME launch? This is the GNOME launch. Noam Chomsky is launching today. Are we going to be able to watch the rocket launch on a live feed from a camera? Yes, we will have the live feed once Rocket Lab goes live. We got a little bit of a delay here today because of that plane. I'm assuming it's this one right here that's in the way. Needs to clear the area. I don't want to call him out. Oh, no, go back. Not that one. Stay there. I know you guys aren't seeing any dropped frames, but it's still making me a little bit nervous. So I just want to get this sorted out a touch. I think I got it all. I think I got things better, at least here on my end. We'll see if that's a little bit better. Had a device on our network that was going rogue a little bit. All right, so while we leave the map up here and we keep an eye on it, let's get to some questions. Hopefully that should be better now, and I'll stop getting these warnings from OBS. Are these live streams scheduled, or are they just right before the launch? It's scheduled to be about 25 minutes before the launch. So the launch is scheduled for 9:20 p.m. Eastern time. So we are expecting Rocket Lab to go live right about when this gets to about T-minus 25 minutes. That's when I'm expecting them to go live. Everybody says it's all great. I'm glad you guys all have good looking stream. Jeb says he sent me a picture in Discord. Let me look at it. Let me look at it, Jeb. Where, suspect number 1. There's suspect number 1 with the, what is that, a seagull paint job on it? Is that for real, Jeb? This is what Jeb sent me in our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, this is the point of the show where I tell you it's free to become a member of our Discord. Type !Discord in the YouTube chat. And I'll drop a link in Facebook, Periscope, and Twitch as well. And you can join our Discord with Jeb, where he sent me this picture of the suspect. And you can chat it up with all of our like-minded space geeks and fans and super fans and everything else. And just hang out with us in between launches, where we talk about a lot of this kind of stuff. So we got a link in the chat everywhere if you want to join Discord and just meet our community, become part of our circle here. And if you want to become part of the inner circle, you want to take the extra mile, consider becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member, because that's where you can get early access to the 2-Minute Tuesday videos. Sometimes you get a little bit of behind the scenes action. If you want, and it helps support the channel. That's how we cover all this stuff. No sponsor here today. Sponsored by people like you. So there's my sales pitch for you. So that's Jed's culprit. Jed says that's culprit number 1, suspect number 1. There's a couple of other pictures here. Not sure which is which, but again, heading to the south here today, so you can see where if we've got this southern track and we look at flight radar, it looks like, it could be a slightly different angle here, different projection of the map, but oh wow, that zoomed out way too much. But you can see this guy maybe crossing the path here. Sorry, dude, I just put your call sign out again, but you got to read the notams. There you go. Somebody says Rocket Lab is live. Oh yeah, I see Rocket Lab is live. They haven't actually started yet, but we'll get it up and get it ready. Now, again, one more time, while we're waiting for Rocket Lab, please double window this, because for every 1 viewer on Rocket Lab's official live stream on YouTube, you will raise $1 for charity. So hopefully you'll stick around and watch with me so we can chat it up and talk about all the science and all that kind of stuff as well. But also open a window and get the official Rocket Lab live stream. You can go to rocketlabusa.com/live stream to get that, or actually let me just put a direct link. I'll just put a direct link in the chat. Let's see, Rocket Labs official live stream for charity. We'll do, and I'll put it in the chat so you can double window it, hopefully. Stick around with me and also watch theirs as well, because again, for every one viewer, you don't even have to do anything. But for every one viewer that they get, there will be $1 raised for charity. And let me pull up the charity name just so I can tell you exactly who it is. I tweeted it out a little bit earlier, but it is the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit at Captain Starship. Captain Starship, which is it's basically the Starship Foundation. It's a charitable social profit organization that raises funds so Starship Children's Health can better care for its young patients. So it's pediatric care. That's what we're donating money here for. Well, we're not donating money. Rocket Lab is donating money. It's actually Valve Software's Gabe Newell is going to donate $1 to the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit for every one viewer that Rocket Lab gets. And the Valve Software is who's created Noam Chomsky here. Let me get this up here. So Noam Chomsky, it's right here. Gabe Newell from Valve Software is donating $1 for every viewer on the official Rocket Lab live stream. So hopefully you can double stream, get the Rocket Lab one open, hang with us, get your viewer counted. If you even want to go the extra mile, you can open up their Twitch as well, because the official live stream is on YouTube and Twitch, so you can get counted twice. It'll be fantastic. We'll get some pediatric funds, pediatric intensive care at the Starship Foundation. Right? Sounds like a good deal. Hats off to him, says 72 Galaxy Tank Girl. I agree. Let me get to a couple of other questions. Starship is the name of the children's hospital in Auckland, New Zealand. Thanks, Gumboot, for that clarification. Yep, it's a children's hospital. Starship Children's Hospital. Is this the rocket which is going to bring the gnome into space? This is the rocket. It's on the kick stage. It's going to head to space on the kick stage, and then it will come back with the kick stage when the kick stage burns up on reentry. It's going up, and it's going to come back down. It will not be recovered. Mineland says, can't double window, mobile user here. Well, Mineland, go watch them then. At least go watch them for a couple of minutes. If you want to come back and hang out with us, that's cool too. But gotta at least get your viewer in. They're the children's hospital, way more important than anything we're doing here. You can always come back, but definitely get your view counted in over on Rocket Lab stream. I think according to YouTube's terms, you only got to be a viewer for a couple of minutes at most to be counted as a view. So at least go over there and watch for a little while. Can we get a link to their live stream? Yep, Time Waster put it in the chat. I threw it in the chat as well. Daniel says, any plans for human flight? Not on the Electron. So Electron and Rocket Lab are never going to go to human flights. This rocket is way too small. So I should have saved that image that I had, the comparison image. Here it is. I got it right here. I'll show you this. Oh, that's a low resolution one. Let's get do I have a higher resolution one? Well, that's about it. That's as close as I can get right here. So just to give you an idea, scale-wise, human for scale, down here, this is the New Shepard rocket. This is the Electron from Rocket Lab. Pretty small rocket. The payload fairing is just up here. Remember, the New Shepard capsule can only fit, I don't know, what does that fit? 5 or 6 people or something like that in the New Shepard capsule? Not a ton of people, and that's a suborbital rocket. That can't even get to orbit. You've got Launcher 1, which fits underneath the Boeing 747 here, so another 747 for scale. There's Alpha's rocket, the Soyuz, Ariane 5, the Falcon 9, which is launching Crew Dragon. Look at how big the Falcon 9 is for launching 4 astronauts on Crew Dragon. The thing is huge compared to our Electron rocket down here, and then obviously Falcon Heavy at the end there. So Electron, much, much smaller rocket. And actually, if we even look at... Let's see, is Rocket Lab live yet? No. Okay, I just want to make sure I don't miss it. If you look at, like, if we look at the official Flickr page for Rocket Lab here, you can see, like, this is a person next to the payload fairing. Like, but you're not going to fit a person inside the I mean, maybe you fit a person in, but you're not going to fit any seats or anything. You send a person in this thing, and this is going to be the last thing he does. So this is it's a much, much smaller rocket. Person for scale, there's your payload fairing. It's pretty tiny. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to. Let's grab a couple. Oh, thought I heard something. Thought I heard something on the live stream there for a minute, but I think it's just me. Oh, let's see. Gumboot says if we go to Google Earth, I'm hearing a buzzing. Oh, I know what that is. There we go. Problem solved. All right, let's go. Let's go to the Māhia Peninsula. And I'll pull this up. We'll go into satellite view. Something like this. Where'd my Māhia Peninsula go? There it is. Okay. Here you go. Here's the Māhia Peninsula. Right at the very tip here is Rocket Lab's Launch Complex number 1. You can see this is what the launch complex looks like here. It's probably the best looking launch complex on the planet. Like, gorgeous views. I mean, it's just beautiful there. Like, this is a gorgeous launch complex. It's got to be the best looking launch complex on the planet. And again, they're going to have a second one that's going to be at Wallops Island. We're not ready for that yet, but this is launching from New Zealand here today. Thanks for that tip, Gumboot. I also love the name, Gumboot. There you go. Just Jeb says he shared the Rocket Lab stream around. Great thinking, Jeb. Definitely share that Rocket Lab stream around. Tell people to go watch the Rocket Lab stream today. Again, you don't have to watch it for very long. I mean, if you want to, great, but watch it at least for a minute or two at a minimum. If you want, you watch the whole thing if you want, but at a minimum, watch it for a minute or two, because every viewer on the official Rocket Lab live stream will raise $1 for charity. Valve Software, Gabe's Newell, is going to donate $1 to the Starship Children's Hospital Pediatric Intensive Care down in New Zealand. Bia said, would love to watch this launch in person. Such a gorgeous day here on the North Island. I would love to see a Rocket Lab launch in person, just because I feel like everything is gorgeous down there. Rocket Lab's website is down. Is that right? Did you show off the gnome? We did show off Gnome Chomsky. Let's see. I lost. Where is Gnome Chomsky? There he is. Gnome Chomsky right there. It's a new 3D printing technique. It's a mass simulator. They're just kind of testing it out. It's a 150 millimeter gnome. It's going to remain attached to Electron's kick stage and will deorbit. It's going to deorbit with the kick stage when the stage burns up on re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Noam Chomsky is a the Half-Life gaming icon, which is outside of my wheelhouse, but you guys have all filled me in. Here we go. Now Rocket Lab is starting it up. So, again, remember, double window it, triple window it if you must, but at a minimum, make sure you've got Rocket Lab's stream open. Every one viewer on the official stream will raise $1 for charity. So, make sure you've got their stream open. Make sure you've got their stream open so you can be counted as a viewer. If you're on mobile, you go watch them, come back. We'll be here after launch or for launch, whatever you prefer. But make sure you're getting your view in for Rocket Lab so that they get $1 raise for children's pediatric intensive care.
Electron mission and our very first attempt to recover a first stage as part of Rocket Lab's efforts to make Electron a reusable launch vehicle. You're looking at a live view of Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in Māhia on New Zealand's east coast as we count down to a 3:20 PM New Zealand time liftoff. Today's launch is our 6th mission for the year, a mission we've aptly dubbed Return to Sender. I'm Ariana Ryan and I'm a quality engineer in the propulsion team.
And I'm Max Muncy. I'm a data analyst here at Rocket Lab, and it's great to be back with you for our 16th launch. We're in the final stages now of launch preparations as we count down with 17 minutes remaining on the clock to lift off for this mission. Electron's primary mission today is to deploy a diverse range of payloads to orbit. Inside Electron's fairing, we've packed in 30 small satellites from customers in the United States, France, and New Zealand. Before we get into those customers and satellites, though, let's talk about reusability. Today's mission marks a major step in our goal of turning Electron into a reusable rocket, and is our very first attempt at recovering an Electron booster after launch. Electron's first stage has been expendable on all 15 missions to date, but for the first time, we'll be trying to bring the stage back underneath a parachute. We're aiming for a soft splashdown in the ocean, several hundred kilometers downrange from LC-1, where a recovery team will extract it from the water and bring it back to our production complex for inspection. While the ultimate goal is to bring back a fully intact stage, today's recovery attempt is very much a test.
Yeah.
First
So
time.
regardless the state the stage comes back in, our team will come away with lots of data and information for our future recovery efforts. And, as a reminder, today's recovery effort does not include an attempt to catch the booster mid-air with a helicopter. That will come in future attempts once we've completed successful parachute re-entries. So, right now, our recovery team is ready and in position in a vessel in the Pacific Ocean, close to where we're expecting Electron's first stage to splash down at about 8.5 minutes or so after liftoff. We'll try to bring you live footage from the camera on board as the booster begins to make its descent, and we'll stick with the feed as long as we can, but we are expecting a telemetry dropout as the stage reaches 30 kilometers altitude on its descent. To tell us more about how we're approaching rocket reusability with Electron, let's hear from our CEO Peter Beck and the recovery team here at Rocket Lab.
It's been enormously fun along the way. This has been the best project almost, doing these big scale tests where there's lots of energy and it's been super fun.
Nope, I gotta turn that down because they got the music going and I don't have the rights. Oh.
Primarily to increase production. And first I didn't
Yeah, I don't have the rights to that music, so you'll have to you're gonna have to keep an eye on there. So we'll keep theirs up and we'll pull it back up once they finish playing the music. But make sure you're getting that view in. You're watching their official live stream. Every one viewer raises $1 for intensive care, pediatric care at the Starship Children's Hospital. So awesome cause there. A couple people have said that they love seeing the white rocket. It's not a white rocket. The white is ice. It's a black rocket. So notice anytime you see the rocket in the background, it's completely black. And you're going to have white ice buildup, which is basically just water in the atmosphere that's freezing on the outside of the rockets because of that super densified, super cold liquid oxygen. So this is showing here now the recovery
that we're dealing with.
I'm just trying to see if they have. Yeah, they still got music going on. So, yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that. We'll pull it back up once they get rid of that. So yeah, Black Rocket, what was I saying? Black Rockets, we are doing the first stage recovery attempt today. We'll have a drogue parachute that comes out first, main parachute, then soft land in the water, and we're probably not going to see footage all the way to the water. We'll probably lose footage. They're expecting to lose footage around 30 kilometers above the ocean. Here you go. There's the parachute. This is from a parachute test that they did, bringing it back. Again, remember that rocket is pretty small. It's a small rocket, so it's always surprising how small it is, especially in comparison to the Falcon 9. Still powerful, obviously. It's getting our satellites into orbits, but it's relatively small. So that's why they can actually grab this. That's why they can actually grab this from a helicopter, which is what the plan is. Not today, but they're going to grab it with a helicopter eventually, once they realize that they can actually bring it back and that the parachutes work all right. So we're getting there. Can you turn on the closed captions? Oh, that's a good idea. We'll turn on, since I can't play the music that they're playing. We'll turn on the closed captions. Sorry, I didn't see that. I wish I would have saw that sooner. That's a great idea. I should do that I should do that all the time when they have music going on. I'll turn the captions on. Great idea. Who was that? Mara. Great idea, Mara. Of course, I waited till the end of it, but next time I'll remember that.
So as you heard Peter Beck mention there, our ultimate goal for this attempt is to fish an intact booster out of the ocean that we can transport back to our facilities to check out what we've got. Keep an eye out on our social media channels for updates on what we find at the end of this live broadcast and in the weeks to come.
So we're coming up on T-minus 12 minutes, so let's check in with the launch director, Sean DeMello, and the rest of the team for the final go, no-go poll.
For launch. Stage.
Status go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
AFTS.
AFTS is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
Beacon.
Beacon is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
BLS.
BLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
MM.
MM is go.
Recovery.
Recovery is go.
LDSUP.
Recovery.
Is go.
Executive.
Executives go for launch and recovery.
Go no go sequence complete. We are at T-minus 11 minutes, 37 seconds and counting. We are go for terminal count starting at T-minus 10 minutes. From this point on, 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
3-word hold procedure. I believe that's just that requires them to call hold if they're going to stop the count for any reason. So there it is, the Electron rocket there, small payload fairing up on top with their 30 micro sats and cube sats.
And there you have it. Our operators and launch director have confirmed Electron is primed and ready on the pad at Launch Complex 1. Now to the customers on board this special mission. The satellites for this launch span a range of operations, from tech demonstration through to maritime surveillance, communications, and education, as well as a final special guest hitching a ride to space. Today's mission will launch the APSS-1 satellite from the Auckland Programme for Space Systems from the University of Auckland here in New Zealand. This is a particularly special payload because it's New Zealand's first student-built satellite. APSS-1 is designed to measure electrical activity in the upper reaches of the Earth's atmosphere, right at the edge of space, a region known as the ionosphere. Because the ionosphere is ionized by solar and cosmic radiation and is affected by phenomena such as solar winds, it is uniquely reactive to the changing magnetic and electrical conditions. That means it affects radio and GPS signals here on Earth, including television, internet, and telephone communications. But scientists are also curious to what extent and how the ionosphere is affected by geophysical activity here on Earth, including whether the electrical disturbances that occur in the ionosphere might be correlated with earthquakes. More than 26 students have worked on this satellite across several years, so we're very proud to be delivering it to space today. To support innovative student projects like this one, Rocket Lab is providing the launch service to the Auckland Programme for Space Systems at no cost.
Next on the list is the drag racer payload from US company TriSept, which is designed to test new tether technologies that could accelerate spacecraft reentry and reduce orbital debris at the conclusion of space missions. TriSept's payload includes two 6U smallsats, one with a tether drag device measuring 70 meters long and the other without. Next up, we're welcoming a return customer back on board Electron, following the first successful deployment with Rocket Lab in August of 2019, French company Unseenlabs. This launch includes 2 of their satellites to grow their maritime surveillance constellation. Both of these small sats independently and precisely locate and fingerprint radio frequency emitters all around the globe, day or night in any weather conditions, and without requiring any special embarked tracking device.
That's right, and 24 of the satellites on board today's mission include the latest quarter-use Space Bee satellites from Swarm. These Space Bees are designed to provide affordable satellite communication services to IoT devices in remote regions around the world. And finally, fans of the game Half-Life will recognize our very special guest on this mission from Valve co-founder Gabe Newell. I'd like to introduce you to Noam Chomsky. That's right, we are launching a garden gnome to space, or to be more precise, a mass simulator in the shape of a garden gnome. This little guy right here is a replica of the one sitting inside Electron's fairing, which is about to head to space. Manufactured with support from the Weta workshop, this tiny astronaut will finally complete his achievement for real. Because we have a no gnome left behind policy here at Rocket Lab, Mr. Chomsky will remain attached to the kick stage and deorbit with it as it falls back to Earth.
Not only does this mission serve as a tribute to the innovation and creativity of gamers worldwide, but Gabe Newell is personally donating $1 to the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit at Starship's Children's Hospital for every person who watches the launch with us today. So thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you to all of our customers for choosing to ride on Electron. We couldn't ask for better mission partners, and we're proud to be working with you all.
Yeah, so again, my reminder, just in case you're joining us, for every 1 viewer on the official Rocket Lab live stream, they will donate $1 to the Starship Children's Hospital Pediatric Intensive Care Unit. So make sure, dual window it. Keep us open, hang with us so we can chat it up, but open another window, watch the official Rocket Lab live stream as well. There's a link in the chat, so make sure you've got that open as well so you can get your view counted and help them raise money for that children's hospital. It's pretty awesome. You want to come back, if you're on mobile, go watch them. We'll be here after launch. Go watch them for a few minutes. Maybe come check back in with us a little bit later, but definitely get your view counted with Rocket Lab. That one view gets $1 donated. It's a great cause. And also, Joe Kelly mentions that you can also triple window it if you want as well.
On mission.
You can triple window it.
Proceed with sequence 51, AFTS enabled for flight.
Proceeding with sequence 51.
You can triple window it and open their Twitch feed as well, because they're also live on Twitch. So you can you can watch YouTube, Twitch,
AFTS
and have us open as well.
Enabled for flight.
So we're getting close now. When we
The
get
18-metre tall Electron is made of 2 stages to get orbit and a 3rd stage for precise deployment of the satellites on board. Electron's 9 Rutherford engines at the bottom of the 1st stage do the heavy lifting to space before the 2nd stage separates to carry on the mission. The 2nd stage is powered by a single electrically pumped Rutherford to get to orbit, before Electron's kick stage takes over and carries out the final leg of the journey to deliver the satellites on board to their specific destinations. Once stage separation occurs, approximately 2.5 minutes into the mission, Electron's 1st stage booster, which you can see on your screen there, will begin its descent back to Earth, and it's this part of the rocket we'll be attempting to recover on the mission today.
To support this mission's recovery attempt, we've added some extra hardware and components to Electron's 1st stage. Here to tell us more about what's been added to Electron is Dominic Fu, a familiar face and integration technician whose team assembled the rocket and the recovery hardware. He joins us now from Rocket Lab's main production facility. Dom, what can you tell us about the differences on the 1st stage for today's mission?
Hey Max, that's right. The 1st stage on Electron is a little different on this mission, but it's not just a paint job that's new. I'm standing on the factory floor here at one of our production complexes, and behind me there are about 7 Electron rockets, all lined up for missions later this year and early next year. Right here is where the 1st stage for today's mission was fitted with recovery systems that will hopefully enable us to bring the stage back under a parachute today. Now, approximately 2.5 minutes after liftoff, at an altitude of around 80 kilometers, Electron's 1st and 2nd stages will separate. Electron's 2nd stage will continue to orbit, where the kick stage will separate and deploy the satellites. So up until now, we're following a standard mission profile, but next is where it gets interesting for recovery. With engines now shut down on Electron's 1st stage, a reaction control system will reorient the stage 180 degrees to place it on an ideal angle for reentry, designed to enable it to survive the incredible heat and pressure known as the wall during its descent back to Earth. Now on the recovery booster, the RCS thrusters are located near the top of the vehicle, highlighted on your screen. When Electron decelerates below Mach 2, a drogue parachute will be deployed to increase drag to stabilize the first stage as it descends. In the final kilometers of descent, a large main parachute will be deployed to further slow the stage and enable the controlled splashdown. Our team on the recovery vessel will rendezvous with the stage after splashdown and retrieve it for transport back to this production complex for inspection. Once we get the stage back to the factory, we'll inspect every inch and use that knowledge to inform our next recovery effort. It's going to be such an amazing mission to watch that I'm just going to wrap this up right now. I'm going to join everybody else at Mission Control. Back to you, Max and Ari.
Thanks very much, Dom. The recovery team might be leading the program to bring back an Electron, but almost every team across the business has been involved in getting us to this point. So it's exciting to be just minutes away from liftoff for this very special mission. A quick reminder that we will have live video of the beginning of the recovery process. We're expecting the feed will cut out as Electron goes through the wall and eventually drops out of telemetry range. We'll be sharing photos of the recovery effort on the water as soon as they're available. So, with just 2.5 minutes left in the count, we're going to hand you over now to listen in on comms from Mission Control for the final minutes until launch.
All right, a couple things as we're approaching launch.
All stations LD on mission cord. We are go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes.
Here we go. So we're getting close.
LD is go for launch.
If you're just joining us, please make sure you have the Rocket Lab live stream open, the official one from Rocket Lab. For every one viewer that watches the official stream, they will raise $1 for the Starship Children's Hospital and at their pediatric intensive care unit. So definitely open, dual window it. Keep us here. Open the Rocket Lab one, maybe even triple window it. Open their Twitch stream as well, because they're counting both YouTube views and Twitch views for that donation. So
AV bits are on internal power.
also, I'd love to mention with the Rocket Lab, at ignition, Rocket Lab has a very powerful ignition. It's very like...
Vehicle is fully on internal power.
You see that? Just like... It's very powerful. Watch for that. Right? It's right at ignition. It will likely be loud. I'm going to turn up the volume pretty loud if I can. So
Lux load is complete. System is in recirculation.
this is your headphone warning now that it's gonna be loud. And again, don't forget to view the official Rocket Lab live stream. I'll drop some links in the chat one more time. Get your view
disabled.
Get your view counted so they can raise $1 for the Children's Hospital for every viewer. They're going to raise lots of dollars, but every viewer is $1.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
High flow engine purge is enabled.
Here we go. Let's
Deluge is activated.
remember, watch for this ignition. It'll give it. Daniel wants me to do that again. The ignition. It's gonna get. It's intense. You watch.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Entering Stage 1 burnout detect mode.
And we have liftoff of Electron from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1. We're just 50 seconds into flight, and you heard the call out on comms there that the mission is continuing nominally. So Electron will approach max Q along its trajectory, otherwise known as maximum aerodynamic pressure.
I told you that sound. That sound is killer. It's
Approaching
awesome.
maximum dynamic pressure. Past maximum dynamic pressure.
And there goes the call from our operator on console. Electron has cleared max Q. Propulsion is continuing to look good on the path to orbit.
Stage 1 guidance is nominal.
I love that we're still getting this rumbling audio. I don't know what that's coming from, but it sounds kind of awesome.
Coming up next in the mission timeline is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO, as Electron's Rutherford engines power down so that the first and second stages of the vehicle can separate cleanly. Following that, the vacuum optimized engine on the second stage will ignite to carry the satellites on board further into space, while Electron's booster will begin to fall back to Earth, marking the start of our recovery attempt. The team on the recovery vessel will now be furiously tracking its return telemetry.
I mean, that's a liftoff sound. We'll watch that again after.
MECO confirmed.
Staging.
Look at this. Look at this.
Stage 2
Oh,
mission.
great view.
Recovery telemetry.
That's awesome.
Flight analyst, recovery, LDN mission cord, execute sequence 53, stage 1 recovery operations.
Okay, here we go. Here's the. We'll hear a little bit about recovery. First time they've ever tried it.
MECO is confirmed, and so too is the startup of the second stage Rutherford engine. With the separation of stage 1 and 2 complete, we'll try and stick with both views as long as we have them. The trajectories are looking good so far while we're awaiting fairing separation.
Remember, this is traveling to the south here. You can... Oh, there's fairing jettison. Oh, look at that. There's Noam Chomsky.
And there goes the
Love
fairing, and welcome to space, Mr. Noam Chomsky.
I love it.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
So I think on the left there, is that our first stage? On the left? Now we're probably not going to get view all the way to the water. They were expecting to have the view until about 30
If you're just tuning into the
kilometers.
broadcast for our 16th Electron launch, we've successfully lifted off the pad at LC1 in New Zealand and have had a successful MECO, stage separation and stage 2 ignition. Electron's second stage burn is in progress as we hit 4 minutes and 17 seconds into flight.
I love that they're providing us like onboard audio or something. Like, you hear that rumble in the background?
HV discharge nominal.
I don't know what that is.
Stage 1 apogee.
So there's the apogee for stage 1. Remember, after
is nominal. Altitude is 170 kilometers and speed is 1 point.
A couple of months ago, some of you may remember we conducted the maiden flight of our Photon satellite, which we called First Light, during our 14th launch. The kick stage, which you can see Mr. Noam Chomsky mounted to here, forms the basis of our Photon satellites. By offering launches and satellites as a bundled service, we make it easier for small satellite operators to get to space, removing the need for them to source satellite, launch, and ground stations separately.
Throttling down. Stage 2 guidance still nominal, 200 seconds remaining.
So I think that's stage 1 on the left. Remember, stage 1 continues to climb even after separation.
Just a quick update for you all here. Electron's second stage burn continues nominally at a velocity of 14,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of 190 kilometers. It looks like we've still got visual of stage reentry as well, and it feels good to be back in space.
So what I was trying to say is stage 1 continues to climb even after separation. Just a few minutes ago it hit apogee, and now it's on its way. It's on its way back down now. We're probably going to lose the video feed.
We're now at T plus 6 minutes and 8 seconds into flight, and both our second stage burn and first stage booster re-entry are looking stable. Next up will be battery hot swap to continue supplying power to the second stage engine and systems. Let's listen in for that call.
Everything. Nick Iron says everything's nominal for our Noam Chomsky there. I love that. You can see the first stage on the left. First time they're bringing the first stage back. Probably not going to have video for that for very long. They're expecting that to cut out as it comes down and it reaches 30 kilometers. We're going to lose that video footage. But it looks like we're still getting some imagery right now.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Stage 1 re-entry.
We've had battery hot swap confirmation, and we're about a minute and a half away from when we expect stage 1's drogue chute to deploy. The ride is going to get a little bumpy on the way back down, with the booster reaching several times the speed of sound on its fall back to Earth. A reminder that we'll stick with the video feed as long as we can, but we do expect to lose it soon.
So this is where the drogue chute should be coming out on the first stage.
And as expected, it looks like we've lost video connection to Electron's booster there. We should expect the first stage's main parachute to deploy at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds into the mission. If we get that confirmation while we're still on the air, we'll be sure to share it with you. Otherwise, check in on our social media channels for further updates when we end the broadcast. Now let's listen in for the call while we wait for stage 2 separation.
Guidance is in terminal, 20 seconds remaining.
So the actual stage 1 parachute and SECO are at almost the exact same time. So we've got no more video from the first stage. Lost that. That was expected. Coming up on SECO here, right?
SECO confirmed.
There it is.
Nominal transfer orbit.
There it is. Noam Chomsky's in orbit. Way to go, Nomi.
And as you just heard from the team in Mission Control, the engine on Electron's second stage has shut down and the kick stage has separated. So Noam Chomsky finally gets his day in space. In approximately 45 minutes or so, the payloads will be deployed to their precise locations using our innovative kick stage. So here's a quick rundown of how this additional stage works.
Are you going to play music?
Electron's second stage takes us to an elliptical orbit where the kick stage then separates. From here, the 3D printed Curie engine on Electron ignites to propel the stage and its payloads to a circular orbit for deployment. Using a cold gas reaction control system, or RCS, the kick stage accurately points itself to deploy each satellite to a precise and individual orbit, even on rideshare missions with multiple satellites like this one. Once the satellites are deployed, the Curie engine reignites, propelling the kick stage to a lower orbit, where it will be dragged into the Earth's atmosphere faster, leaving behind no space junk in orbit.
I hear clapping and cheering. I don't know what that's from, but... I don't know what that... We're still getting a rumble. The engines are off at this point. So I don't know what the rumble is. So the actual landing splashdown isn't expected for like another 2 minutes. But maybe we got a view. Maybe we got a view of the parachute. Or at least they did. They've heard about it. They haven't said anything on the broadcast yet. But it should, stage 1 should be under parachute right now. We've not heard anything. So I'm gonna kind of wait until... Wait and see if we get any sort of confirmation about the splashdown, which is expected in about a minute and a half from now.
We've just had confirmation of successful drogue shoot and main shoot deploy. We can't wait to share we can't wait to share these photos of recovery in the coming days. So with that, we're going to end the launch broadcast here ahead of that final sequence. We'll be sure to let you know as soon as we can about our recovery efforts and of course payload deployment. Thank you once again to our customers for choosing to launch on Electron, and thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to watch this very special mission. I'm Ariana Ryan.
And I'm Max Bunsey, and this is Rocket Lab Mission Control, signing off.
All right, well, I guess we're not going to hear about the splashdown, but they did tell us, at least. They did tell us that they had a successful drogue shoot deployment and successful main shoot deployment. And we're just not going to get to... We're not going to see... I mean, we weren't expecting to see it. I was hoping to hear a call out that was like, you know, splashdown or something like that. I don't know what I was expecting, but that was kind of my hope. So, appreciate it. Hey, Star Andrea 22, thanks for the super sticker. Sent over a heart. Loved it. Presumably loved it. How could you not love it? It was pretty awesome. We're gonna go back and watch a replay, particularly of the actual liftoff itself, because that was pretty awesome. But if you haven't already, you should definitely go watch the Rocket Lab live stream. I don't know if they're counting. We said this before. I don't know if they're going to count the views after or they're just counting the live views, but definitely make sure that you at least get a view in on the official live stream, because for every viewer that they have on the official live stream, they're going to donate $1 to the Starship Children's Hospital, the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit. So it's a good cause. Make sure you get a view in on Rocket Lab's official stream, and if you want to double up, you can take a look at their Twitch stream, although that's probably over now, but you might be able to get your view in on the YouTube stream, even though that's over as well. And I'll drop a link in the chat as well. So let's go back. We're gonna take a look here. I guess we're gonna have to refresh this. I want to play that replay, particularly of the actual liftoff itself, because like I said, I told you that liftoff of the Rocket Lab Electron, like, it really is you guys didn't believe me. It really gives you the like, it's a heck of an ignition. I love it. Absolutely love it. Hey, Rob P became a channel member. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for your support. Really appreciate that. You, sir, now have early access to our 2-Minute Tuesday videos, which come out on Monday for YouTube channel members that are in the top 2 tiers. You can also get access to our secret Discord channels. So if you're in our Discord, you get access to the secret channels now. Are they really secret if I tell everybody that they exist? You just can't see what's in them. And if you don't want to put out money to support the channel and things like that, that's cool too. I realize it's not for everybody, but I would consider joining our Discord for free. You can become a Discord member for free and chat it up with like-minded space fans, space individuals, all that kind of stuff. It's a great community of space fans that are in our Discord. So consider joining the Discord so you can chat with us in between launches. There's my spiel there. All right, let's see. Let me take a look and go back there. Hey, Heath Snide also became a channel member. Thanks, Heath. Really appreciate your support on that. Make sure to keep an eye out for your early access to 2-Minute Tuesday on Monday. Pierre says the ignition of the Electron reminds me of the Titan II. It is a crazy sound. I absolutely loved it. Jeb says check Discord. You missed something during launch. What did I miss? It's hard for me to check Discord the same time as this, but what did I miss? I see nothing except for memes of myself. What did you send me, Jeb? I don't see it. Send it again. Because I don't see it. I'll try to keep an eye on it. All right. Oh, he's going to resend it. Perfect. All right, resend it and I'll check it out. So did the choppers collect the booster? They said the chute's deployed, but not whether or not they recovered it. So the plan today was not to use the helicopters. They were not going to use the helicopters today. They were just going to parachute, soft land in the water, then they're going to pick it up out of the water. The water landing wasn't until 12:48. And so you can see on the timeline now, splashdown has happened, but they ended the broadcast before we got to that point. So at this point, the recovery ship would be going out there and trying to pluck it out of the water at this point. There you go. So Jeb sent me this. What is this that you sent me? Achievement unlocked, Gnome alone? Is that... What time was that at? 8:52? I must have been in the way. It must have been behind me. Let me pull that up. 8:52 after launch, that was. Oh yeah, I see it. Let me put myself over here. So in the live stream here, right over on the right-hand side, right above the red countdown clock, you get this achievement unlocked, Gnome alone. I like that. That's a nice little Easter egg or something in the live broadcast there. All right, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna have to watch that replay again because I absolutely love that. I love that ignition, but I did want to get. We'll put this up. We'll let it play for a minute because I wanted to check out, see everybody's. Get to a couple questions at least. Let's see. Hey, Pierre. Pierre joined the ground control as a channel member. Thanks for your support, Pierre. Really appreciate that. Rare's a big fan of the gnome. Josue Bustamante became a channel member as well. Thanks, Josue. Really appreciate that. Thanks for your support there. Tori needs to set up like 5 monitors to have hope of keeping up with everything. Yeah, right? I got 3 in my setup. My old setup had 4, which is still, it's in my office computer. I need to it's hard to try to figure out where to put monitors and a camera and lights and everything else. Like, so I'm running out of room. Splashdown confirmed via Twitter, says Jordan Kimball. So did they confirm splashdown, it looks like? Let's take a look. We'll pull that up here. Let's pull up Rocket Lab's Twitter. There we go. Indeed, splashdown is confirmed right here. Splashdown of Electron's first stage confirmed. Recovery operations are underway, and we'll bring you more soon. Awesome. Confirmation from Mission Control that both drogue and main parachutes on Electron's first stage have deployed successfully. Further updates to come. Also great news. Great news from Rocket Lab on their first attempt at recovery. So hopefully we get some pictures, maybe some video. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right, let's put the replay text up here so people know that this is a replay. Thanks to Gregorius, my moderator, for reminding me to put that up. All right, let's watch. Let's watch the ignition replay, because like I said, I told you up front that the ignition of the Rocket Lab is like super powerful. It really gets in. Very powerful.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
High flow engine purges enabled.
So this is, remember, this is a replay. Don't get confused. Here, I'll put this down here so it's
Deluge is activated.
hopefully very obvious that this has already happened, but we're going to watch it again. Actually, I should get out of the way. I should go, like... I should go over here. We'll put the replay...
T-minus 20 seconds and counting.
like there. We'll do that. Alright, get your headphones ready. 10
T-minus
seconds.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2...
Sound. I'm telling you, that
Stage 1
sound.
propulsion is nominal.
Should we do that again? I think we have to do that again. We'll replay the launch again. I just have to do it again. Like, as soon as it hits 2 seconds. Like, look at, hold on. We'll turn the sound down here for a second. But you can see, let's just take a look so you can see everything that's happened. You can see the water suppression system here activated down at the bottom. You get that big, powerful ignition, like so powerful. Absolutely love it. Again, remember, black rockets, all this white is just ice. Just ice on there that is, you know, water from the atmosphere that has frozen to the side of the rockets because of that super cold, super densified liquid oxygen there. Same thing happens up here on the second stage. But yeah, you get that big explosive ignition. You can actually even see a whole bunch of the ice breaking off as it's jumping off the pad here. Like, watch, right? Look at all this ice just break off right at launch. And away it goes. Oh, they even have right here. Let me move the replay thing out of the way. You've got this one here that says achievement unlocked, liftoff. Like that too. All right, so let's go back and replay that again here. Here comes the sound again.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2...
Goodness, that sound.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
I cannot get enough of that sound. Like, that is just ridiculous. Love that.
Entering Stage 1 burnout detect mode.
I could listen to that.
And we have liftoff of
I could listen to that sound over and over and over again. That is just, it's just ridiculous how awesome that sound is. Fantastic. Let's see. Go back through a couple of questions here. That's the loudest launch on any stream. I need to put that through my 1600 watt DJ speakers. Yeah, right? That's from Heath, one of our new channel members. That ignition, just like, I love it. It's so awesome. It's great. Right? Did I tell you or did I tell you the I love that. It literally, like Super Salty says, Super Salty Peanut, literally takes off like a rocket, right? How powerful is it, says Randy? It's like that's the ignition right there.
Also known as MECO, as Electron's Rutherford engines power down so
Sounds better than a Falcon 9, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know where these microphones are, but they got to be like very close, and they're very nice microphones. I mean, sometimes we get really good sound from a Falcon 9 as well, but I don't know, something about this ignition sequence, like it's just powerful. Like it just seems to happen all at once. Like, so I mean, all I can describe it with is that's it. That's all I got for it. Somebody that knows more just would have to tell me, like, why. Oh, and I love this view here, right here. This view is the stage 1's dropping away, stage 2 ignites, so you can see that stage 1 just out of there, like, see ya. I guess technically it's stage 2 that's getting out of there, but we're looking at stage 1. Such a nice view. Like, you get a clear day like this, like you could just see back at all of New Zealand there, the whole Māhia Peninsula. Just awesome. Awesome view. I love it. It's the clarity of the sound. It doesn't clip. It's condensed nicely. Yeah, it's everything. It's the clarity of the sound. It's also like there you go. There's Noam Chomsky being revealed. Yeah, the sound is just like, yes, it's the clarity, but it's also like just the abruptness of it. Like, it's so just I'm just gonna keep doing it. Just somebody tied Tori down. It may be due to a lower acoustic suppression system volume of water. All right, that's from Laser Doug. Laser Doug 1. I could buy that theory, Laser Doug. It is, it is a smaller water suppression system, so maybe, could be plausible. Will it go over Canada? Let's take a look. Oh, I think I closed it while I was trying to sort out my dropped frames, which I still haven't sorted out. I don't know what's going on with that, but well, I guess we're just gonna deal with it until next time. All right, let me get, so what I'm going to pull up is the trajectory simulation, so that you can see where it's going, because somebody asked if it was going over Canada. And the answer to that is no. But in the meantime, I will also show you where it actually is going. So here we are. We launched earlier today, 28 minutes ago, from the Māhia Peninsula here in New Zealand. It's off the coast of in case you don't know your geography, off the coast of Southeast Australia here, not the United States. This is New Zealand, although not to be confused, Rocket Lab is a U.S. company. They just launch out of New Zealand. So the U.S. company launches out of New Zealand. They also have a U.S. launch facility that they're building on Wallops Island in Virginia, but they're not ready to launch from there yet. But we've got this southern trajectory here. First stage headed over. Let's see, can I, how do we, there, yep, there it is. First stage right here came this direction, landed in the water under parachute. I'm told that there's a parachute picture, which we'll take a look at. Second stage continued on. There we go. Continued on. It's sun-synchronous orbit, so it's a polar orbit. Going to be heading over Antarctica, coming up the Atlantic Ocean here, over the western tip here of Africa, and it'll continue on this direction like that, and it'll be in polar orbit. All right, let's see. Somebody said that there is a picture on Twitter. Oh, there you go. That's from Peter Beck. My new favorite image of 2020. This is right there, an image from the first stage. It's a little bit blurry, but from the first stage, that's an image looking up at the parachute. That's the main parachute, it looks like, not the drogue parachute. That looks like the main parachute deployed on the first stage successfully, which means it made it in one piece. Well, presumably in one piece. I guess we can't really tell for sure, but we haven't heard it otherwise, but made it through the wall in one piece, deployed its parachutes, splashed down in the water. That's great news because although they did splash down in the water this time, next time, well, maybe not next time, but sometime in the future, we don't know when they're going to move on, but sometime in the future, they're going to use a helicopter to snag that parachute out of mid-air and then drop it on a boat instead of splashing down in the water. Let's see what else we had here. Is this their first ever reusable rocket? That's kind of a confusing question, but this is the first time they've attempted to reuse this rocket. The rocket itself, this is flight number 16 of the Electron rocket, so this is flown 16 times. They did have one failure, but this is flown 16 times now. Well, actually, they've had two failures, right? One recent failure, and then early on they had a failure as well. Right? Am I wrong on that? I can't remember that far back. Really testing my memory. But they've launched Electron 16 times. This is the first time they're attempting to reuse it. And the first step is they need to try to get through what they call the wall. Which is why, this is kind of where I'm going with this, which is who just said that? SpaceX SFS says, why did they not catch it with a helicopter? Well, they're going to do this incrementally, like baby steps here, so they don't want to try to overcomplicate it and put too many steps all at once. So the first thing here was, can they get through the wall? Which the wall is what they describe as, like, during re-entry, that's the maximum point of pressure and temperature on the vehicle. Because remember, the Falcon 9, when it comes back, it does a re-entry burn to slow itself down to re-enter the atmosphere and not burn up. So that's how Falcon 9 handles that. They don't have to worry about the wall. Rocket Lab, though, it's a tiny rocket. They don't have enough fuel to do any sort of re-entry burn. So they just fly ballistically. Like, they have engine shutdown, separation, and the booster just flies. It does have RCS thrusters to flip around and go engine first, but then it just plows into the atmosphere. Like, it doesn't slow down, it just plows right through. That's the hardest part of the recovery, is getting through that wall. And the question really was, they've tested the parachute systems. They did test getting through the wall on previous flights, but the question was, can they get through the wall and still have success, like their equipment still working? So that's what they were testing today. They weren't going to jeopardize a helicopter or personnel or things like that with who knows what might happen. So they did that today, and it looks like it was successful. So now hopefully in a future flight, they will add the helicopter and try to snag it out of the air. There you go, Fritz 46. Thanks for the reminder there. Launch number 1 and launch number 13 failed. That's right. Where is the launch? Says Barbara. Barbara, you missed it. It was 34 minutes ago. You're gonna have to rewind. So we're just about to ready to wrap up. Maybe we'll play it one more time because I do love that sound. I still love the sound. Who is the gnome and why is it there? The gnome was a paid member for the flight, or a paid payload. It's a mass simulator. It's testing a new 3D printing technology to see if it can survive through launch and orbit and all that kind of stuff. So testing a new 3D printing technology, and they just happened to print it in the shape of Noam Chomsky there. And that's all it was. It's just a mass simulator, but instead of just throwing a block of concrete on it, or a block of, not concrete, but just a block of a blob, they just put it into the shape of a gnome. Hey, GVA Morning Show, thanks for the super chat. Says, I'm back. You're doing double live stream on Saturday. Yeah, if it turns out, if the schedule holds, we might have a double live stream on Saturday. So Saturday morning, we have a launch on the West Coast for SpaceX. Haven't had a West Coast launch in a really long time. So we'll have a West Coast launch for SpaceX. I think the last West Coast launch was in like mid-2019 maybe. So like a year and a half ago was the last West Coast launch. So it's been a year and a half since we've had one of those. And then later Saturday night, back on the East Coast, they're expecting to launch another Starlink launch. So we may have a double launch Saturday, which would be kind of exciting. I haven't put events up on it, but I will put events on our YouTube channel for those shortly, probably tomorrow. Let's see what else we had. Didn't SpaceX drop their West Coast operations? They haven't dropped them. They have drastically reduced them, but they haven't completely dropped them. There's still some operations that are going to take place on the West Coast. They haven't completely abandoned the West Coast. There's a good chance that the West Coast will get phased out as things move, progress. But the West Coast is generally for polar orbit or retrograde orbits. We don't really have very many retrograde orbits, but meaning it would go the opposite way the Earth is spinning. We rarely ever do that, but polar orbits we do quite a bit of. This launch today was a polar orbit, and well, that's everyday astronauts. I don't want to play his music. Don't copyright me, Tim. I didn't know it was playing. I was like, what? I was like, that music sounds really familiar. Should also put the replay text up so we don't confuse people. We'll get to a couple questions. We'll do one more look at the launch, then we'll call it a day. Isn't this the Electron with the most satellites? Is it the most satellites? I know they have 30 on board, but I don't know if that's the most that they've had. But you could be right on that. Let me see, did they mention that in their press kit? 30 satellites. This will be Rocket Lab's 16th launch overall, 6th mission of 2020. For the first time, Rocket Lab also attempted to bring Electron's first stage back under parachute, which they did. Major milestone. Rocket Lab aims to retrieve the stage, blah, blah. I don't see anything about it being the most number of satellites, at least not in the press kit, but you could be right. I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, so the significance of the gnome, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. People that are into Half-Life are going to yell at me because I don't know the full significance. I know it's an Easter egg from the game Half-Life, and it's from Valve Software. So that's why they had the gnome. I don't really know much about the gnome. I was never really into Half-Life. All right, let's watch the ignition one more time. Get your headphones ready. It's going to be loud. I'm going to crank it up one more time. We'll listen to that one more time, and then we'll call it a day. But that ignition from Rocket Lab, just so powerful.
Anti-gas ring disabled.
So powerful. So we're still about a minute away here from the replay. Everyday Astronaut.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
Everyday Astronaut got a ton of super chats over there. Said they would all go to charity. That's pretty awesome as well. I mean, I would do the same thing, but because Overlook Horizon is a non-profit, I have to jump through hoops to to try to do that. I mean, technically, I think their children's hospital would be, I'm guessing, would be a charity, but I don't know if they're a U.S. charity, and because we're a U.S. charity, it's very difficult for me to give money away. Generally, Overlook Horizon can only give money away to other U.S. charities.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Here we go.
3, 2.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
I could listen to that all day. Like, I'm just gonna sit here with you guys. We're gonna listen to that over and over and over again. Let's back it up. We're gonna do that one more. We're gonna do it one more time because, like, that sound. Come on.
7, 6.
Here it goes again.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Telling you, every time.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
It just makes me light up every time. That sound. Oh, I'm telling you, that sound. Heath, our channel members, is that the subwoofer at my feet. Thanks again for the replay. Right? Tup World says, concerning the sound, read Enoch 57 when you have time. All right, I'll check into that. Sounds like it's making the sky vibrate. Yeah, right. Definitely worth becoming deaf for. I know, I got these headphones in, I got it cranked up. I probably shouldn't have it that loud in my ears, but just every time, I love it. I love it. If I could just have that on a loop, I would. So it's actually a first stage re-entry test. In addition to launching 30 satellites, like there are 30 satellites, that's the primary mission. The first stage recovery is the secondary mission. Will they be able to collect the gnome or the remains once it reaches Earth? No, the gnome Chomsky is gonna burn up in the atmosphere with the kick stage when it comes back. So it's gonna stay with the kick stage, come back, and it's gonna burn up with the kick stage. Worth the crank up. I know, I love it. That was amazing. Where's Shrimpy? Still don't know where Shrimpy is. Shrimpy was our weather balloon flight number 10 that we lost. Shrimpy's gone. CubeSat, yeah, these are all small, like CubeSats and microsats that we're launching today. Very small. That's pretty much all. That's all Rocket Lab launches. Everybody pumped about that sound. If you think that was loud, you should have heard the Saturn V light up the night sky like daytime. I know. I wish I could have seen the Saturn V. And then I love this view too. That first stage dropping away. That looks so awesome. I love that. What is Rocket Lab? I'm new to all this stuff. So Rocket Lab is a U.S. company, although their primary launch site is in New Zealand. But they're a U.S. company. They're a small rocket company. They launch a very small rocket that launches CubeSats and microsatellites generally into low Earth orbit. They do a lot of sun-synchronous orbits, like today. But yeah, small rocket, small payloads, small satellites, trying to get them to orbit very inexpensively and economically. And that's what Rocket Lab does. This was launch number 16 for Rocket Lab, number 16 ever They're a fairly new rocket company. When will the next live be? Probably Saturday morning for Sentinel 6A. So is it 6A or just 6? Does this launch make it New Zealand's first non-Rocket Lab satellite aboard? I'm not sure I understand. So Rocket Lab, like, generally they don't launch their own satellites. I mean they have, but most launches have somebody else's satellites. Oh, Gregorius tells me that book that they told me about the sound is a conspiracy book. Okay, well, I'm not gonna check into that then. Thanks, Gregorius. We're gonna skip that then. All right, well, I think at this point, I think we're probably going to have to wrap up now. So keep an eye on Twitter, particularly. We'll throw my Twitter up here in the bottom left there. Because Rocket Lab will probably put out some updates. Hopefully, they're usually pretty good about putting updates out about their missions. So hopefully, we'll get an update. Maybe some video footage, maybe some more pictures about how that first stage went. That would be pretty awesome. Would love to see more as far as that's concerned. So this is where I'm going to wrap it up, but I will tell you, in case you haven't done it already, make sure you join our Discord, chat with like-minded space individuals. It's free. There's no cost to it. That's where you'll find me in between launches and over 1,200 of our friends, of our circle, on Discord, chatting about space and science and Raspberry Pis and 3D printing and Arduinos and all that kind of stuff. So join us over there on Discord for no cost. If you want to take that extra step and help support the channel, help me make videos like this, you can consider becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member. And if you're a Patreon or YouTube channel member, you get early access to 2 Minute Tuesday if you're in the top 2 tiers. And occasionally we do some behind-the-scenes stuff and some exclusive live streams, which we probably will be doing one shortly. Probably not this weekend, but I'm thinking maybe next weekend we might do one of our gaming live streams. There's a whole bunch of games out there that I've really been meaning to try out. So we might do a Patreon/YouTube members only live stream. So if you want to jump in and check some of that out, consider supporting the channel. Next launch is going to be Saturday, and I'll be right back here covering it as I usually do. So that's going to do it for me. I guess I'll do one more self-promotion and say if you haven't checked out 2 Minute Tuesday, you should check out 2 Minute Tuesday. There's one this week, there'll be one next week, and probably one the week after that. So consider it. Let's call it a day. I'm heading out. Thanks everybody for joining us here. Appreciate it. And my name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. I'll see you guys next time. All right, goodbye everybody. Have a good day.